So a couple of weeks ago, Zero, we talked about how Sony went to, I guess they were in Brazil. I think the time they were talking to a Brazilian agency that deals with anti-competitiveness in the marketplace.
Yeah, it's essentially kind of like the equivalent of the SEC, but
Right.
in Brazil. And this story kind of got an interesting twist into it. For anyone who needs a quick recap, um, essentially, uh, the the Brazilian SEC had basically sort of opened up a comments panel for all of the major game companies around the world to basically comment on their thoughts on Microsoft acquiring Activision, Blizzard, and King. And of course, just most of the other publishers were just like, yeah, no big deal. Just we've got our own games, they've got their own, no big deal to us. And the PlayStation representative kind of had a whole completely different thought because they protested the idea. They were just, they had essentially said, we think that if Activision and Activision Blizzard King are to be acquired by Microsoft, this is going to adversely hurt PlayStation brand sales because there will be people that will jump hoops and ladders just to buy a Xbox console just to play Call of Duty. And that was kind of where things had been left off. But the story gets a little bit more interesting because after their comment period ended, uh, Microsoft was actually able to kind of make a counter comment to Sony's comment. And the short of it is Xbox is saying, well, we're still going to abide by our legal contracts for games that are multi-platform. So it's not like we're suddenly going to yank away Call of Duty. So just this panic over Call of Duty magically evaporating is just unfounded. But they also kind of made a counterpoint to uh, the Sony representative saying, "Oh, well, Xbox is also really anti-competitive too because um, just it allows an avenue for more people to go towards a Microsoft product." And the counterpoint that the the Microsoft representative had was really interesting because they had said, okay, well, you really can't use the Game Pass argument because you guys have recently started a Game Pass like service that recently debuted, right?
Yep.
And then just to kind of rub salt in the wound too, they're like, if anyone's engaged in anti-competitive activities, it's Sony because Sony has actually a forced developers who wanted to go multi-platform and also feature their game on a service like Microsoft's Xbox Game Pass. They basically held that game hostage to the PlayStation service unless the developer pays an exorbitant fee.
Yeah.
So it was kind of an interesting play by Microsoft in this Brazilian council sort of thing.
Right. And it is fair to criticize that and to point that out because Sony, what they're doing is saying, oh, poor us. This is going to leave us in a clear disadvantage. And what Microsoft is saying is, no, not really, because if you are good at business and you know how to do this efficiently, you can get those people to go to your console. For example, this is what you did for this game, and you clearly did that. So you know that you're fine. So F off is essentially what as Microsoft is saying. That being said, though, Zero, I mean, let's be fair, okay? This acquisition gives Microsoft a very distinct advantage because the minute and we both unless unless Call of Duty dies off in the next 3 years, which is a possibility, unless that happens, you know damn well they're gonna make Call of Duty either exclusive or they're gonna make it so it's available on day one on Game Pass. And when they do that, you know damn well more people are going to be like, oh, wait, I can get that for $15 on Game Pass or spend $70 on PlayStation? I'm going to go get the Xbox version. that does give them an advantage. But what Sony needs to do is provide better advantages on their end that makes it more appealing for customers to do that. They basically are complaining, oh, we have to be more pro-consumer now in order to compete, and we didn't have to do that before, so you're just being anti-competitive, which is not the case. That's not what's happening at all.
It's just kind of funny, just they're playing the, oh, poor us,
Oh,
woe
yeah.
is us. And it's just like, you guys are currently on top as far as the two major consoles go. You guys do have a war chest that you can pull from. Just suck it the fuck up, open up your war chest, and spend some goddamn money to maintain your competitive advantage. If you think you can just coast and not really invest in keeping your competitive advantage, then I'm sorry, you deserve to lose your competitive advantage.
Yeah. And it's not that Microsoft isn't doing this either. They are too. And one of the funniest things that I've ever read is basically them saying, actually, Call of Duty kind of sucks, you know? I mean, we don't have that much advantage. Call of Duty is not what it used to be, you know? It's not that big of a deal, right? Like, really downplaying exactly the scope the importance that Call of Duty has, which is also, in a way, kind of scummy to a certain extent. But, yeah, I mean, they're both doing it, clearly. But I just find it funny how they're trying to outdo each other by claiming, oh, we're just at a clear disadvantage, or, oh, it's not as big of a deal as you think it is. Like, they're both playing the game, essentially, of trying to skate around responsibility and to actually be competitive in the marketplace. Is basically what they're doing. So,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
yeah. So, yeah, basically, that's it, really. I mean, so what's going to happen is these are going to go through because it's looking more and more like the U.S. government, which really dictates what goes on in this. Because if the U.S. government essentially says, "Yeah, this is fine," there's no way Brazil is going to be like, "Well, we don't like it, so you can't do it." They're just going to say, "All right, whatever, I don't care," and they're going to do it anyway. So, what's Brazil going to do at that point? Hate to sound like a stereotypical American on that point, but it is the truth. Because if, let's say, one country does do that and America says it's okay, America is the biggest economy in the world, and they help run other economies around the world. So if America says it's okay, it would be a fool's errand for another country to fight that. It would just be completely silly, because then all Sony or Microsoft would do is be, okay, then those games are not going to be released in Brazil. Done. Nothing is going to happen in this, is what I'm trying to say. Like, it's not going to be, there's not going to be a controversy. There's not going to be a big deal where the government's going to say, okay, well then this is not going through. The more and more I think about this, the more and more I believe it will. There was a period of time where some were thinking this may not go through, but clearly I think it's going to. What do you think?
As much as Sony's trying to play the court of public opinion in this Brazilian SEC council meeting, I think ultimately the deal with Activision Blizzard is going to go through. Just um, they've pretty much just proven to the US FTC and SEC that, just we don't see that this is going to be a monopoly situation and stuff like that. And unfortunately, just if they've already proven their point is solid and everything, then there's really not much to stop the deal, save for just something explosive, evidence-wise, just coming out of nowhere and changing the whole landscape. But honestly, I just don't see that.
Yeah, me neither. Anything else you want to add?
Um, Not really. I think it'll be just more interesting to see how this pans out, especially if the Brazilian government decides to protest against this and say, "Yeah, we don't like this." And at that point, I just don't know what'll happen if they'll have to tax games from Microsoft publishing uh, Activision Blizzard stuff with like an extra tax charge or something in Brazil. I don't know. I just know that as far as game pricing in South America, it's completely topsy turvy.
Yeah.
I think Rockstar and Capcom recently announced that they'd be increasing prices for those two regions, so games are going to be even more expensive by those two brands. So,
Right.
oh, who knows if they decide to protest the union of Microsoft and Activision, and even though the U.S. says, "Hey, we think it's fine, it's not that big a deal," and same goes for the rest of the world. So, yeah, really, it's really going to be interesting to see what happens in Brazil if they decide to say, "Yeah, we protest this."
Yeah.